Hello everyone, very good morning and good evening. Parminder here. Welcome to our Step Up Circles. And today we are going to cover in Step Up Circle is aATP, Advanced Available to Promise. What is ATP? ATP stands for Available to Promise. Okay. ATP stands for Available to Promise, right? But why do we need ATP? That thing you need to understand what is ATP and why do we need ATP, Available to Promise. Now, Available to Promise is kind of an algorithm, or Available to Promise is kind of an engine. It's algorithm or engine which is required to make sure we reply to the customer demand. Now customer come up with this demand ki boss, so customer comes with its demand ki boss, I need 200 of apple juice cases on 15th of February 2024, right? Now this is a customer demand. When we're talking about this customer demand, generally we talked about a formed demand. What is a formed demand from a customer? So basically the fixed demand from the customer is when customer gives you a purchase order. And this purchase order, we fetch into our SAP system. In our SAP system, we fetch it as a sales order. In sales order, we have this quantity, 200. This quantity is there into the sales order. And this date also has been mentioned. This date is generally required delivery date, 15th of February. Now, let's say if you have a stock of 2000, my stock of 2000 is there. My stock is 2000. Can I deliver to the customer? Can I give a commitment? In my warehouse, I have a 2000 stock is there. Can I give the confirmation back to the customer? Boss, I would be able to deliver 15th of February, the 2000 quantity. No, we cannot confirm. Some people say we can confirm. Now, having a stock on hand does not mean that you would be actually able to supply to this sales order. There can be a lot of constraints can be there. What kind of constraints can be there? We have a stock. We have a stock, but this stock we have already confirmed for another. We have already 3 sales orders. Sales order 1, sales order 2, sales order 3. Sales order 1, we have already confirmed the 1000 stock. Sales order 2, we have already confirmed the 500 stock. And sales order 3, we have already confirmed 150. So you can see the stock 200. But here we have another customer to supply. Their orders are there, we need to supply, and we have confirmed to them. If for this sales order will supplying 1000, for this sales order will be supplying 500. And then for this sales order will be supplying 150. So total 1000 plus 115, 1500 plus 150, 1650, or let me mention it, 450. So that the total become 1950. So in this case, what I can promise to customer? What I can promise to customer is 200, 2000 minus 1950 is 50. So this is called my ATP quantity. I have taken a very simple example to explain you what ATP is. Available to promise. कि मेरे पास stock कितना है? How much of stock I have doesn't matter. But how much I can promise to the customers does matter. Okay? How much I can promise to the customer does matter. So in this case, 2000 is my stock, but 1950 I am giving to another customer. So when the new sales order is coming, I have only 50 quantity on my hand that I can promise to customer. So that is available to promise. Available to promise. ATP is quantity which is available to promise, and this calculation of my stock minus my existing demand, and this can be a different algorithms can be there. Okay, we'll talk about when we go into the configurations, we'll talk about what can be the different algorithms. But different algorithms can be there, right? Different business situations can be there. where you need to identify which customer need to serve. There basically ATP will come into the picture, ATP calculation, ATP logic will come into the picture to calculate how much I can promise to customer and which date I can promise to customer. Now, I can promise 50 to this customer. ये जो sales order, the sales order 200 I have, I can promise 50. Okay. So what I can have, I can promise 50 on 15th of February 2024. I would be able to supply you 50 quantity. But what about the next 150 quantity, which is not confirmed? What is this 150 quantity called, which is not confirmed? What is the terminology we use in the ATP or in SD? What is the terminology used? Open sales order quantity goes to the time back order. Very good, Snita. That is called back order. So this 150 will become back order if we have punched the sales order at the time of sales order creation. I don't have my full confirmation. So the quantities which I am not able to confirm at the times of sales order creation is called back order. Now we'll also be jumping back order processing, or there is a particular feature is there, advanced back order processing is there in aATP. That is also part of the aATP. And now with aATP, it has enhanced. How to handle this 150 quantity? How to give confirmation for this 150 quantity? How to handle your back orders, which you are not able to confirm, right? So that is a further functionalities that will bring the further computation and complications into it. Okay. Let me also ask you another scenario so that I give you the perspective. I have an order 200. This is my order quantity. Delivery date is 15th of February, but my stock on hand is 0. In this case, can I confirm? Can I, at the time of sales order creation, can I confirm to the customer? Can I commit to the customer that I would be able to deliver 200 quickly? Yes or no? Now, this whole game is not about stock versus demand. This whole game is about supply versus demand. So what we need to check, supply versus demand. Okay. So let me draw a quick graph and let me tell you how this can answer with the supply versus demand. Okay. On one hand, we have a supply. Supply can be anything which is coming into your, which will bring stock increase, which will increase your stock, can be your supply. And on other hand, you are having a demand. Demand is something which will bring your stock out from your inventory. Supply is anything which will bring the stock in the inventory. Demand is anything which will brought the stock out from the inventory, which means it will reduce your demand, right? It will reduce your stock. So in demand, you can have a sales orders and you can also have a STOs. We are talking about only the formed demand. We will not talk about here the forecast, that how much we forecasted. We are talking about the formed demand where customer said that we need it. Sales order, we got a purchase order, we booked the sales order for it. And we have a STO, where basically from one plant is asking to another plant to supply to me. So my customer can be my distribution center. I am a manufacturing plant, my customer can be a distribution center for me. And from the distribution center, it goes to the customer. So STO, which has been raised between a distribution center to the plant, okay, can also be a demand for the plant. So sales order, STO, that can be my demand. And in supply, I can have the first thing which I can have in supply, which is coming in, this is coming in, this is coming out, is my stock, can be my purchase orders, can be my production orders. Okay. Or can be the STOs also. STO can be, for one plant, it can be demand. For another plant, it can be supply. For distribution center, it can be supply because that will increase the stock. For plant, it can be demand because it will reduce the stock. So it depends on which plant we are talking about. It can act as a supply or it can act as a demand. Now, in this case, what can happen? In this, the earlier case we have talked about, where my stock is 0. but I have a production order in hand. And this production order say that by 10th of February, I would be confirming this production order, I am producing it, and I would be having on-hand stock of 2000. Right now, my stock is 0. But I have a production order which will be getting produced. And with that production order days, the production order finish date is 10th of February, or finish date is 9th of February, and then the good receiving time is 10th of February. After the inspection, on 10th of February, I would be having a stock because of the production order. So because of this production order which you have on 10th of February, although your on hand stock is 0, कि भैया stock नहीं है कुछ भी, still I would be able to commit to my customer, I can supply to you, right? I can supply to you. So what we need to check? Demand versus supply. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos. What we need to check? Demand versus supply, right? So this is where basically ATP logics will come into the picture. This is where basically ATP calculations will come into the picture. ATP algorithms will come into the picture to calculate on a time frame my demand versus supply when we are punching the order or when we are confirming the back orders, and we would be able to confirm that which orders need to be supplied, right? Now let me ask you a question. I am into industry, okay? And in that particular industry, I have a situations where my supply, I am producing more, I have a huge capacity, is always greater than demand. My supply is always greater than demand. In that case, do I need ATP? My supply is always greater than demand. Do I need ATP? Bharat said yes. Vijay said no. How about others? Quickly, NI onto the chat if you don't know the answer. No, 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 no. Okay, if you are into industry where basically you are producing in the bulk, in the mass, right? And your demands are less, your production capacities are too huge, right? There can be a ATP might be used, but the requirement of ATP or the usage of ATP you will not see in depth. You will not see in the depth usage. These kind of tools where advanced available to promise will come into the picture, where ATP back order processing will come into the picture. These are more used and more in-depth used where basically we have a problems with between supply and demand. Where my demand is more and my supply is less. Where my demand is more and my supply is less. It is not like that in a month. If I am having, okay, let me ask you to give you another perspective. In a month of January, I produced 5,000, but in the month of January, I got a sales order of 4,500. Do I need ATP in this situation? Whether you will recommend as a consultant, do we need ATP in these situations? Demand is 4,500. This is my production. This is how much I have produced in the month of January, and this is how much I got the sales order. Quickly, yes or no? Yes or no? Quickly on the chat. Some people said no. Some people said, ki bhaiya, no idea. Okay, not an issue. So what will happen in this case, although on the month-on-month basis, we are having more production, more supplies versus demand, but there can be a situation happens on to the delivery date basis that your three customers are saying, your three customer has said, I need my product by 15th of January 2024. Right? Three sales orders are there. But your production is coming on 21st of January. So overall, you are fulfilling the, overall your demand is less, your supply is more. But when somebody asks that I need a second week, within the second week, this customer also need it within the second week. This customer also need in the second week, and this customer also need in the second week. And you are producing 1,000 in each week. So by 15th of February, you have produced 2,000, but the total supply demand you need to fulfill on 15th of February is 3,000. Then in that case, you need to choose. Although overall month on month or year on year, you will see, yeah, I am producing more than the supply. But when you go on to the weekly basis, there can be a fluctuation between demand and supply. My if I'm getting it, if I'm getting buying it, my vendor is saying that I would be supplying on 20th of January, but my demand from the customer is on 17th of January, right? So all the quantity wise on a month, I'm fitting it, but on date wise, when it goes to, it does not fit. So there is always fluctuations in demand, and there's also fluctuation in supply. That fluctuations in demand and supply, where the demand peak is going up and supply peak is going down for that particular date or for that particular week, it creates a difference between demand and supply. So if your client has that fluctuation between demand and between supply, although year on year or month on month, your supply is more than the demand, still you will require ATP. But if you will say that my supply is always a straight line on the top and my demand is always bottom line, a straight line uh, 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 below the supply, then your supplies and demand does not have that fluctuation, that a peak of demand is going up and peak of supply is going down on a particular date, then you might not require ATP. Okay, then you might not require it. A typical make-to-order industries, where basically you only produce or you only buy when you get the order. Do we require ATP there? Quickly. Do we require ATP there? A typical make-to-order industry, a typical. Some people said yes, some people said no. If it is a typical make-to-order based industry, generally we do this ATP check at the, when we talk about the sales order level, the ATP check, we do it for the sales order. For sales order level, will not require it. Because sales order for that particular product, once the sales order comes, I will not be having it. Okay, so ATP check does not make sense, right? But when I go to the bottom level, if I am producing it and I need a raw materials level, in the PP also, in PP module also, the ATP check comes. Component availability check comes. At that level, I might require. But at the finished good level, where finished good, I am only producing it when the demand is coming, or I am only procuring it when the demand comes, then I will not require. Okay. So with that explanation, you would be clear about what is ATP. Okay, ATP hai kya? What ATP would be doing? I will quickly jump into SAP system and I will show you in SAP system where you would be able to see all this confirmation, where exactly it would be happening on SAP screen. I will quickly show you so that you can also relate this confirmation, how it is going in SAP. Okay. So let me jump into our remote desktop system. So let me go into a sales order /NVA01, order type OR, sales organization SG, let's say C1. Distribution channel I have is, I think, C3. And division also C3. Okay, then I should be having a customer SGC1 underscore C001. My requested delivery date, I am putting it here. Let's say my requested delivery date is 21 of February. I have a material SGC1 underscore FG01. I require my quantity 10. Oh, it said no pricing procedures are available for this one. So I will not jump into the pricing procedure level details. I can quickly configure it, but I will use another example. We'll use for 1710, 10 and 00. Let's say I take this as a customer. This is ATP example. Again, my requested delivery date is 21st and my material is 1 TG11. My order quantity is 10. Billing date will change. Okay. Now here, one thing you need to notice here, there is a schedule lines. There's a tab here in the sales order for the schedule line. If I click on this schedule line, it will show me, boss, my order quantity was 10 and my confirmed quantity is 10. I require 10 quantity on 21st of February and my confirmation is happening. When my confirmation is happening, it means that I would be able to supply. The confirmation is here. So when I press enter in the sales order, even though I have not saved the sales order, when I press enter, ATP logic works. ATP logic checks that on this delivery date, do we have ATP quantities based on the configuration we have done. And based on the ATP quantities it find, it would be able to tell whether I would be able to do the confirmation or not. And it has told me that, okay, confirmation I can do because the ATP quantities are available, right? That is a confirmation we are talking about, the schedule line confirmations. If I don't have a proper quantity here, system can propose here the further dates. On 21st of February, I can only supply 5, and then later 5, system can create another schedule line. I would be able to deliver you on 1st of March. Then that confirmation, you need to send it to the customer that this is the confirmed quantity we have. As of now, we'll be able to supply 5 on 21st of February, and rest 5 will be able to supply you on 1st of March. Okay. So let me go back. So there are some icons here. You can use it. This is for the check item availability. This is how you can recheck the availability check if you want. Okay. From here, the recheck of availability check can be done. ATP check. This is, you can show the availability. What is availability? So we have a huge stock available. 461,896. 4,61,000. Because of this huge stock we have available, any quantities you will enter, it will get confirmed. So because we have a huge stock, that huge stock have still a lot of coverage which is available. That's why we are able to get the confirmations. Okay. So this is where basically we'll be checking. And right now I'm only talking about ATP. Now I would be also jumping into the aATP also, that what aATP would be bringing in. This functionality which I have shown you with ATP and aATP look and feel is same. Within aATP, we have a different modules, different sub-modules within aATP also. So right now what we are doing is called PAC, Product Availability Check. Okay, right now what we are doing here is doing PAC, Product Availability Check. Product availability check is a feature in ATP also and in aATP also. And product availability check more or less works same way in ATP also, in aATP also. And then the other further features are there which has been enhanced very heavily for aATP. Now, what I tried कि भैया एक बार you all come into the same platform and you all understand कि what we are talking about. Before we talk about the advanced ATP, at least you understand ATP है क्या. What is ATP? ATP is nothing, calculating and confirming to the customer as per his demand whether we'll be able to supply it to him or not. That is ATP. That is ATP is the engine which used to calculate and give us the ATP quantity, how much we can commit to the customer. Now, any question so far? If you have any question, you can feel free. If you have any question, you can feel free to ask. If you don't have a question, put NQ. Quickly put NQ on the chat window if you don't have a question. If you have a question, quickly ask it over the chat. Okay, NQ, NQ, NQ is there. So now you are able to understand ATP. Now we'll be able to jump ahead. Now, not only the aATP, but before ATP, how SAP has moved this solution. First, they have ATP. And then from ATP, they said that, okay, I will require some advanced function and features. They come up with APO, Advanced Planning and Optimization, which is called the SCM box, Supply Chain Management box. Within SCM box, under the APO, they came up with GATP, Global Available-to-Promise. And then when they come with S/4HANA, this is, let's say, ECC. This is APO. ECC linked with APO to get the GATP done. And when they came with S/4HANA, they said that we are getting rid of GATP in APO and we'll be having ATP in S/4HANA itself. And if you pay the additional license, you can also use a function of aATP, Advanced Available-to-Promise. So first, let's try to understand why GATP was required. Now, what function features we have talked about? What are the function features which is not supported by the ATP? Why do we need a GATP, Global Available-to-Promise? To explain you that why do we need a GATP, I will give you one example, one business scenario. I have my distribution center in Mumbai. I have my distribution center in Nagpur. I have my distribution center in Pune. Okay, I have my distribution center in Pune also. I have my customer in Bangalore. The customer gives the order to me, right? That is a sales order he has given to me. Now, in this sales order, he requires a quantity of 200. Okay. And when we create a sales order, we need to also mention the plant, that which distribution center we would be ordering from. So generally this has been ordered, this has been supplied by the Pune distribution center. So these all distribution center we created as a plant in SAP, right? So Pune supplies it. But Pune has ATP quantity. I will not talk about the stock. Now you understand ATP quantity. Pune has only ATP of 50. Pune can only commit 50, right? If I am working on ATP scenario, this one or this one, I can only check the confirmations, okay, on the plant which has been asked. So only the Pune plant can be used to do the confirmation, not the other plants. But what I need, if I don't have a quantity from Pune, I can also supply from Mumbai. I will say that this sales order, I'm not supplying from Pune. And with the ATP check system, say that, okay, I have available to promise quantity in Mumbai, and I would be now shipping from Mumbai. I need to change my plant in the sales order from Pune to Mumbai. I would be supplying from Mumbai. For customer, it does not matter from where it's coming from, right? The customer wants the product. So he wants the product on time, whether it comes from Mumbai or Pune, he is fine. So whether he's come from Mumbai or Pune, he would be fine with that, right? So that how a ATP check would be able to check globally across the plants, how system would be able to check, right? ATP cannot do that. ATP does not have that feature. But GATP has that feature that it can do a global ATP check. ATP is for one plant. Global ATP is for the multiple plants together. It would be able to check that which plant can better supply the situation, which plant can meet the delivery dates and the quantity both. The preference would be given to that plant. And in the sales order, the plant can be changed automatically by the ATP. So by the GATP, right? So what ATP was doing, ATP was for that existing plant, what are the confirmation? It was playing around the schedule line for that plant. If I'm not able to deliver on that date, what is the next date I can deliver it? GATP goes wide. GATP can decide, okay, this plant cannot deliver. Don't change the schedule lines. Let's try to change the plant itself. Let's try to supply from another plant. Let's try to supply from another distribution center. So this is one of the functionality in GATP. So that kind of a lot of different business scenarios are there, which is not addressed well within ATP. That's why we require a GATP. And that GATP comes on a separate server. You need to have a SCM box. And with SCM box, you need to integrate. Within APO, not only the GATP, there can be another modules can be there. Demand planning can be there. Okay, SCM, supply chain management, supply demand planning can be there. Supply planning can be there. PPDS can be there. And then GATP. That are the four big modules in the APO. Okay, that are the four big modules in the APO. DP, demand planning, supply planning, GATP, and PPDS. But to have these advanced modules, you need to also work on here. You need to set up an interface between ECC and in APO system. Okay, this is called SIF. You need to put SIF interface so that the data from this can go to APO, and we also have some concept. Now, this is some technical names I'm talking about. Nothing much to worry about. Live cache need to be used so that live when the sales order is created in ECC, it get connected with the GATP. It get information from the GATP. And to do this calculation in GATP also needs stock, supplies, everything that it gets from here. And then it gives whether the sales order can be confirmed or not, or whether the plant need to be changed. So a lot of to and fro movement happens between these two systems. To make this scenario run, it is very important that data remains synced in these two different servers. Syncing of data in these two servers was very important. Okay, that's where basically a lot of problem comes. The people who come with APO, they might be knowing, even we have consultants working here, their job is only to monitor the queues, whether all the data from ECC to APO, it's moving correctly. All the data from APO to ECC is moving correctly. It is not failing in the queues. There are 2-3 consultants in the support they would be putting to monitor the queues and resolve the issues. And on the weekly and the monthly basis, we need to do a lot of cleaning batch jobs to make sure that all the data remain in sync. So first, two different servers, we need to use it. Okay, and within the two different servers also, we need to have a interface, although it's called plugin interface, but it is not that plugin. There's a lot of efforts required to do that interface, and there's also a monitoring team after the go live support consultant you need to put only to monitor the data syncs. Okay, so that is how it was complex. SAP said that, boss, we want to get rid out of it. And they got opportunity to get rid out of it with S4HANA. Now, why they got the opportunity with S4HANA? Okay, here, now they said that whatever the functionality GATP has, the similar functionality will also build within S4HANA itself, and we'll give the name aATP, Advanced ATP. They have not given the name GATP because the solution here is a complete different. There is a new ABAP code written for this. Everything has been done scratch for it, so that they have given the new product name. And they say that, ki boss, bhaiya, now we would be having what we are doing in GATP. And it is not came in one go. aATP started in 1610. Still, there are some function features which is there in GATP, but not in aATP, right? They are year on year, they have improved this tool to make sure that it goes even beyond GATP. So aATP they developed and they put it onto the same box so that we don't have issues related to the interface. All the data is in same box. It will work fast and there is no need of this interface. The interfaces has been removed. It has been simplified approach which has been given. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Why not SAP done that within on the top of ECC all itself, they put it here GATP? Why not that? Quickly answers on the chat window. Let me answer it. Try to answer it in yes or no. Can SAP we do that we can bring the GATP on top of the ECC itself? The same way we did in S4HANA. On top of S4HANA, aATP we also inserted it. Can we do that the GATP, or can SAP might be able to do that the GATP should be inserted on ECC itself? Quickly, I have around 38 audience here. I need 38 yes and no. In between, I have a question also from Bharat. For end user perspective, the use case remains the same as GATP and aATP. The use cases can be different because they are elaborating the aATP, and there are some things which is not available in GATP might be available in aATP. The use cases can be enhanced for the end user. And for end user, what would be enhanced is how to use the product. Okay. How to use the product, which we call largely as a user experience. So user experience would be completely different when when user is using through GATP, and user experience is different when they will be using in S4HANA. User experience will be enriched with aATP. It might affect performance, data processing will be very slow. Yes, they could have done. Sunita is saying no. GATP is much more complex for ECC, hence no. You need to know one thing. What is ECC? ECC is your transaction system. SAP always sell ECC as a transaction system. If you will ask, or if you will try to go through in detail of the ECC, if you check whether this ECC is a reporting system, whether it can help me in the reporting, SAP said, no, this is my not reporting tool. Can I collect the data here? Can I make it a data warehouse where the different sort of data can be collected here? The answer you will get no. Is it my planning tool? You will get answer is no. We cannot do these things in ECC. ECC is a transaction system. Advanced reportings cannot be done. Can I do analytics on it? Answer is no. It's just a transaction system. Basic level planning, maybe basic analytics here and there. Basic reportings which we see from the transaction codes are available. But when we talk about the complex reporting, having from the multiple different modules, getting the reportings generated, making the data available from the different system onto it, it does not work. It is not like that SAP does not want to make it. This is because the technology which has been used in ECC, it uses a traditional database system, and traditional database system does not have a capability that a large company who are using it system, and they are having so many transactions, good receipts, goods issued, sales order, purchase requisition, purchase orders, production orders around the globe into the different time zones are happening, then the system is very loaded with the transaction itself. These advanced functions, you cannot do it. That's why that the earlier age SAP came up with the different products. Okay, within the different products they brought up because the technical capability is not there. Then SAP, now I talk about in these topics in very detail in SD Excellence or all of my Excellence sessions, which we have just completed last month, only the batches for Excellence. I talk about the capabilities of HANA, right? Now they developed a new hardware, that is a HANA database, okay, or they call it HANA appliance, which has all the capabilities, where basically it can take the load, it can do the parallel processing, it can work 10,000 times faster than the database which is used by ECC. Because of that capabilities with S4HANA, the technical architecture is there, the technical capability is there that we can do much more, which we were not able to do in ECC. ECC, the things we cannot dream about it, the S4HANA, we are getting those kind of things. With the parallel processing, with the on-the-fly calculations, all these things I talk in detail in my excellence sessions, right? So this is the place where basically SAP said, because of capability of HANA, which is the in-memory database system, I can do much more with this. Now the complex algorithm, which I was not able to do it in ECC, those complex algorithm, I can do it here without impacting my performance, without impacting my transaction performance. That's where they have added aATP, Advanced Available-to-Promise, in S4HANA. Now this feature which we are talking about is called ABC, Alternative Based Confirmation in aATP, and it is available through the aATP Alternative Based Confirmation. We would be able to select our plants, or our plants can be automatically replaced by another plant with this functionality ABC in aATP, which is not there in aATP. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos. Okay. With that explanation, you should be able to understand. With that explanation, you should be able to understand the difference between aATP, the difference between GATP, and then difference between aATP, Advanced Available-to-Promise. Now, in my aATP course, I will be talking about in very detailed and in depth about the Advanced Available-to-Promise. Okay. I will not jump into the basic ATP knowledge I have given in our SD sessions. In our SD mastery, we are covering the ATP, what is configurations required, how the ATP can be done, that has been covered. aATP is a much bigger topic than ATP. ATP we can cover in 2 to 3 hours in our SD mastery. Okay, we were able to cover, but here we require at least 10 odd hours to understand aATP, because the scenarios would be very complex, because the business situations which can be supported through aATP are very high. Okay, multiple business situations can be answered through aATP. For that, this is the session number 1, and we'll be continuing our session on the upcoming Saturday and Sunday, session 2, session 3, step by step. I will move ahead to explain more things. If you have not yet enrolled for the sessions, you can feel free to enroll. My support team would be giving you a link over the chat. You can use that link and you can enroll for that course where we jump into the depth of aATP. There's a huge demand of aATP coming for the aATP consultant who has a key skill set, focus skill set as aATP, and who would be working only on aATP. Every second month, I'm getting some requirement from Europe, and even a lot of direct requirement from SAP Europe. They want a aATP expert. I have mentioned aATP in my LinkedIn profile, so I get a lot of requirements. And right now, the majority of requirement is coming from Europe to me. So the Europe has started using aATP, which is now going to shift to the US side. And later on, it comes to the Asia-Specific countries, which does not make sense that it does not create a demand. All the adoption which is happening in Europe, all the adoption which is happening in USA, that creates huge demand in the India also because of the outsourcing, because of the offshore resources working from India. This is also a very good module if you want to do the freelancings. This is the key skill set, niche skill set, which is there with the very less people. You can, if you have a very good hand on it, you can also start your freelancing career with aATP. Okay. Now with this explanation, if you have any question, you can ask it now before I jump ahead, and we'll have a little bit more elaboration. What is the difference between aATP and aATP? Right now, you understand what is aATP, what SAP provided in GATP, and why aATP come into the picture, why we are able to put aATP on S4HANA. Although to let you know, with S4HANA license, you cannot use aATP. You need to pay a little extra to SAP for the aATP. That's a separate license. I have a question in between from Srini. Custom code required for plant substitution. You can have a custom code which is required for the plant substitution if you want to do it in ECC. For GATP, aATP, it is the standard functionality. aATP, without any custom code, we can do the plant substitutions. Sunitha is asking, is the session going to be instructor-led and led by you? Yes, sessions are instructor-led sessions. As soon as you you will be getting the recorded videos, which is my sessions. And aATP sessions has been taken by me. I would be taking the aATP session. But between the session, there can be some content which I would be asked you to go through one or two video also. The 80% content, 70 to 80% content will be covering it through the instructor-led session, Sunitha, which I would be taking on Saturday and Sunday morning. And there can be 20% of the content which will be asking you to go through the videos. And it will finish very quick. It will not go very long. Within a month, we'll be able to finish this. Okay, so let me check quick time. So we have already done 1 hour. So let me give you a quick 5 minutes break. Okay. In the 5 minutes break, what I want you to do, I want you to increase your LinkedIn visibility. So we have a LinkedIn post, which I'm mentioning it here. You need to go here and put it into the comments, all of your learning so far, which you have, and you can also mention aATP. That question answer you can mention in the comments on this LinkedIn which has been created, and then we'll have a quick 5 minutes break. Make a note that LinkedIn is a very important tool. You start doing a habit of using LinkedIn. That can be a very helpful for you to get a very good job opportunities done. So but that will not come. You will, hi, tomorrow I need to search for a job, and now I go into the LinkedIn, nothing will happen. You have to create your presence on LinkedIn. You'll have to make sure that your visibility is there on LinkedIn. That will not come in a day. I'm getting so many job requirements directly from USA, Europe, and they're okay for working remotely. And I'm also working on those projects. All of this happenings because over the years, I have increased my presence in LinkedIn. Okay, I have increased my visibility in LinkedIn, and somebody requires in that area, in aATP, in SDM, MPP as a solution architect, somebody requires it, the job requirements comes to me because I have increased my presence. And make a note, guys, that this is not going to happen in a day. You'll have to start it. Make sure you're using LinkedIn more every day. Make sure you are creating some posts. Make sure you are sharing some knowledge there. While you would be learning this aATP, that's the best time to share your knowledge also. Every weekend you would be learning something, right? New. Just take a screenshot of that, put it your thoughts on it, okay? And try to create a content on LinkedIn that will increase your visibility. Also try to post, try to give the comments on the people who have put it, not, oh, very good, it's good, not that kind of comments. Comments which can showcase your thought process, okay? Try to give your thoughts into the other people content that also help you to increase your visibility onto the topics which you are commenting it. On that topics, your visibility on the LinkedIn get increased, right? So make sure you increase the LinkedIn usage. So otherwise you will say, sir, आपने तो बोला था freelancing start हो जाएगी, कुछ हुआ ही नहीं मेरे लिए तो. Okay, if you will just put hand on hand, nothing will happen. The things will only happen for the people who are the action oriented, who take the actions when it is asked to do. You need to ask yourself, are you the one who will be taking the actions? Or are you the ones who will be sitting with the closed hands with each other, right? If you are the one who can take actions, these trainings can take you to the next levels. If you are the one who are not believing in taking the actions, who always delay the actions, you do anything, you will not get that kind of results which you want. Okay, with that, let's move ahead. So we have talked about what is ATP. I have talked about what is GATP. That part also we have gone through it. Now let's talk about quickly that what is the difference between ATP and aATP. ATP और aATP के बीच में क्या difference है? Some key features. Now all these features which I would be talking about, we are going to learn in detail and in depth in our upcoming sessions. But at least you should be knowing what features we'll be talking about. Okay, so this is a good matrix which can show you the differences. Let me highlight this with my pen. Now, when we talk about ATP, Therefore, aATP is available in ECC. It's also available in S4HANA. However, aATP is only available in S4HANA, and that is also from 1610 onwards. Okay, but if you want to use in a better way, if you want to use it, I always suggested to my client to move to aATP, not in 1610, not in 1709, not in 1809, from 1909 onwards. Because from 1909 onwards, it jumped into the fourth generation, where basically all the bugs and the basics issues has been resolved, and it is called a stable product from 1909. So any company who is implementing S4HANA after the 1909 or after 1809 from the 1909 onwards, you can feel free to use aATP. But aATP is an ongoing tool. All the functionality features which we have right now in 2022 server was not there in 1610. 1610 was launched with the very basic functionality. Okay, at that time you were saying that we cannot compare it with the GATP. Now you can compare. Now a lot of functionalities are there, right? But with the agile mode, SAP has improved aATP, and what I see that SAP is improving, at least for next 5 to 7 years, there would be very good improvements. More improvements will come to aATP. aATP, if you are learning now, it is already a 6-year-old product. It is no more a new thing. But the adoption becomes slow. 1610 adoption was not there. Adoption started increasing from 2020 onwards after 4 years of launching it. So adoption slowly get increased, and within 10 years you get the adoption. But you make a note that there are a lot of people who have learned this earlier than you and who are already working, right? So make sure you don't miss the bus. You don't make it too late. Abhi to sir ye use ही नहीं हो रहा ज़्यादा. When it will start using it, people will prefer the consultant who have a little bit of experience or who already know it, and they will get the good opportunities quickly. So it's already around 6 years old. 6 years of innovation has been already done. It's a quite robust, I will not say robust, but it's a quite stable tool now to get it used. For aATP usage, we will require additional license. Here we don't need any additional license, but for aATP, we would be requiring additional license. Additional license would be required, right? The product availability check, the first functionality we have talked about was a product availability check, right? We have a sales order. In the sales order, we have that much of quantity. We have that much of a delivery date, whether the product would be available or not, whether we can give the commitment or not. That functionality is called product availability check. Product availability check is available in aATP also, and product availability check is available in aATP also. Technically, how both they use it is little different, but the end result is same. Whether you use aATP or aATP for product availability check, the end result is same. Then the additional functionality we are having, back order processing. Back order processing. I told you that, I explained you, right, that what is the back order processing. So when in the sales order you have a quantity of 200, you are not able to confirm these quantities of 200, right? You're only able to confirm 50. And 150 quantity which is remain unconfirmed, that would be going into back order. And with this back order, you need to run back order processing to make sure these orders can also be confirmed. When you go into the back order processing, okay, there is this sales order for 150, then there can be another sales order, then can be another sales order. And when you are running a back order processing in a batch job or manually, you got the quantity of 300. Now this 300 quantity, how it need to be supplied to S1, S2, S3, or if there is another S0 order which is already confirmed, you need to deconfirm that order and you need to increase the confirmation of these orders. That kind of things you need to do. That will require a lot of business logics. That from which sales orders we can remove the confirmations, for which customer we can remove the confirmation, for which customers we can increase the confirmations. Okay, that all will happen in the back order processing. There are some companies which will put the settings As soon as the sales order is created, it will not confirm. The availability check will not happen on that. No availability check when the sales order is created. All orders will go into the back orders. And every day, a back order processing batch job will run. That will ensure that which sales order need to be supplied based on the different business rules and logic. Based on what logic we need to give the priority. If there is any block is there, if there is any, for some of them, they are the premium customers, but they need to be supplied after 2 months. Some of them are not the premium customers, they are the you can say only the gold customers, not the platinum customers. But those gold customers requires that I need it in next week. So although the platinum customer is there, who requires after 2 months, you will be giving a preference to the gold customers because he requires in next week. So a lot of permutation combinations comes into the picture. So this back order processing is very basic in nature. The aATP back order processing is very basic in nature. V_V2 transaction we use, V_RA we use. We don't get any kind of analytics. We don't get any kind of flexibility that business can generate their own rules. If this is a customer, if this is a sales organization, if this is a distribution channel, and if it is next 10 days, then this becomes my most important requirement. That dynamics of putting those rules and logics are not there in aATP backorder processing. Analytics are not there in aATP backorder processing. Reportings are not there in aATP backorder processing. Running a simulation and analyzing the simulation before you run the actual runs are not available in aATP backorder processing. The influencing factors which you can use to influence your priority is very less. The delivery priority is what is used. Okay, or the delivery dates. So the number of influencing factors are limited and fixed. However, in advanced BOP, advanced backorder processing, the number of influencing factor will become a lot. And business would be able to write their own business logic and rule that if this is this, that is this, this is this, this is my priority. Okay, and it can be dynamic also. Today, sales order 1 is not priority. But after a week, sales order 1 can become a priority automatically. That kind of dynamic rules you would be able to set it up to do your back order processing. We'll have a very detailed discussion. In the next session, we'll be starting with the back order processing. And again, I will explain you that there are some business situations out there which is not answered with aATP, which you need to get it answered, and the advanced back order processing with aATP would be able to help you to answer those questions. So in advanced back order processing, we have some bucket strategies. And based on the business logics and rules, you would be able to decide that which requirement which go into the which bucket. And each bucket is having a different priority to make sure the confirmation happens. So it will require at least 1.5 sessions to understand the advanced backorder processing and how it would be working. Okay, but that is one of the functionality which has been used a lot in aATP, advanced backorder processing. So backorder processing is there. If I will say that this backorder processing, advanced backorder processing is 100 out of 100, then I will say this aATP backorder processing is 15 out of 100. That much of functionality is there. A lot of things we were used to do in this backorder processing by enhancing it, by writing a new logics, by writing a new codes as a ABAP enhancement, we were able to do here. A lot of things which we have done with the ABAP enhancement here can be done out of the box without writing a ABAP code in aATP advanced backorder processing. In aATP, we can do without writing a code. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos. Vijay is asking, in our practice system, what are we using, aATP or aATP? We have both aATP and aATP. It totally depends on your master data. What is your availability check group? Based on your availability check group, system decides whether we are using aATP or whether we are using aATP. Okay, the both can be used parallelly. For some materials can be used aATP, for some materials can be used aATP, but when we have paid license for aATP, we use for all materials aATP. Okay, aATP need to be activated. I will take you to the configuration in the next session. For the availability check groups, you need to activate the aATP. And if that availability check group is used in the material, then the advanced ATP is used. Then the third functionality which is used a lot is a product allocation. Can anyone let me know that what is the product allocation? Quickly. What is the product allocation? What do you understand from the product allocation? Quickly. In between, Vijay is asking, is aATP integrated with the sales order processing like aATP? Yes, very much integrated. It is integrated the same way the aATP is integrated. Kalyan said that lock stock for the preferred customers. Okay. That's right. All other people who does not know the answers, you know what you need to type. Use your fingers and type NI at least. That is the hack to make your mind focused again this session. Otherwise, you will be thinking, "Arey yaar, Sunday morning, I need to do this stuff. I need to do this with family, that with family," right? Your focus need to come back. Once your fingers get activated onto the keyboard and you type NI, your mind automatically get hacked to focus back onto this session. You mention NI, your mind is ready to get the to get the ideas now, right? Quickly, everyone, people who are sleeping in the session, NI. Before I call your name, put NI. Before I give you a wake-up call, put NI. So look for the stock preferred customers, reserving the stock to customers, customer goods distribution channel. Very good, Vijaya. Reserving for certain customers, allocation stock by custom period sales office. Okay, that's right. Whatever the answer I got it, it's very correct, but let me give a little bit elaborative explanation to you on the product allocation, that what exactly the product allocation is. So you have this months, right? January, February, March, April. You want that your particular sales org or particular, I will say, sales area, you already know your capacities. You already know that on which capacities you would be producing or buying it, how much you will be getting in the month of January, February, March, or April. Okay. So you want to put restrictions from your side because you want to have a fair distribution or the distribution of your product as per your requirement. You know that I have launched my new iPhone, let's say i16 version, iPhone 16 I have launched. If I give everything to India, what I am producing, everything would be sold within India. India is that big market. But what I want to do it with my initial lots of iPhone 16, I want to create a buzz in the markets. Okay, I want to make sure that all the market got hit with my new product which I have developed, so that a buzz can be created in all of the market, which can increase my demand and sales when I am producing the next lots. So in this lot, I have produced 50,000 iPhones, right? So if I give 50,000 to one country, it will be consumed like China, India, they would be able to consume everything, right? But I want to give them, with my strategy, I want to divide them rather than customer asking for it. With my strategy, I want to divide. I can say in the month of January, 20,000 will go to this particular sales area, 10,000 will go to this particular sales area, 5,000 will go to the particular sales area, and another sales area, 15,000. So I am putting a restriction there. I know that all of them would be having a bigger sales orders. I would not be able to supply. So I am reserving it. It should not happen. This sales area has given an order of 40,000 and everything has been supplied to this sales area. And now I don't have a quantities to supply by others. Now the others cannot be supplied now, right? So I want to do the distributions as per my rules and logics. To do this is called the product allocation. This is the functionality which I found it a lot of simplification, a lot of easy to use, and it become a end user consumable in S/4HANA in aATP. This functionality is available in aATP also and aATP also. But to set up these all things is very complex in aATP. aATP, we need to have somewhere around 15 to 20 steps we need to do it to set up the product allocation. And once you set up, if something need to be changed, again, you need to do into the development system, and then it need to move to the production system. A lot of complexities are there. Because of a lot of complexity to set it up, many clients and customers have not used the product allocation within aATP. But aATP find it out that this is an important business functionality. They came up with a lot of simplifications. The full setups can be done only in 3 steps rather than 15 to 20 steps. Everything is your key master data, which means you can directly do the changes in the production system. You can directly do the changes in the production system. Everything has been converted from the configuration. There's only one single configuration which is required to activate it. But all other the setup is the key data, key master data setup, which you can change or directly do into the production system. So you are not having a dependency if there's some small thing need to be changed, that need to be done into the development system first, and then it will move into the next cycle into the quality and production system. So that kind of dependency is not there. On top of that, I really loved this functionality after 1909. After 1909, they have added analytics to this. Because this product allocation, this I have just mentioned the sales area. On the which combination you are blocking the stock, and there can be different hierarchies. Sales org level also the block is there, sales org plus distribution channel, the block is there, sales org plus distribution channel plus division has a block. So there is a hierarchy of the stock blocks which or the quantity blocks which you are giving. So that can become very complex to understand. A particular order has been confirmed, and with characteristics combination it has used. It is known as a characteristics combination in this language. So which characteristics combination has been used to block the stock and how much is remaining? That require a very good reporting, that require a very good analytics. When it was available, I think from 1610 onwards, but it really came as a usage on 1909 after the analytics was added. With these analytical applications, we were able to find it out that for which characteristics combination, how much is the allocation, how much has been used, and what is pending. Where we are going beyond 100% allocation, or where we are going to reach our 100% allocation, so that the next order for that combination it will come, it will not get confirmed. So that kind of alerts, that kind of visibility, that kind of monitoring came from 1909 version or it's afterwards. And with that, the functionality become very good. So this is the product allocation functionality, which is not available in aATP, but would be available in S/4HANA. There's a quick explanation about what actually the product allocation is. We'll be having a deeper discussion when we jump into our training session. Product allocation would be a very big, detailed discussion, which can easily take 2 to 3 hours to understand even more, because now with the 2022 and the new servers availability, the complexity and the business scenarios within the product allocation which can be handled has been multiplied. Okay, so this is product allocation. Now let me check what else is there. So these 3 features are there in aATP: product availability check, product allocation, and the back order processing. Apart from that, we have a lot of things in the within S/4HANA. Okay, if I will show you all the function features at a glance. One of the function we talk about the ABC, alternate base confirmation. where the global ATP check can be done and your plants can be substituted. That functionality would be available. Okay, so when we'll jump into this training session, we'll be going into all these stuffs in detail. Advanced product allocation, we talked about. Substitution. You can substitute a storage location. You can substitute a material. If a material A is not available, which is 500 grams, sorry. If material A is not available, that is 500 gram, and 500 pieces are required, maybe your client is okay, customer is okay to get material B. Just give me a minute. So if material A is not available of 500 gram, your client is okay to get the material B, which is 250 grams, but the 1000 pieces. That capability, that system can check the availability for this material, going multiple plants. If the plants is not available, system can check whether I can supply alternate material for it. Whether A material, I can change it to the B material and I can supply the B material for this. There can be different logics to substitute a material. This is one I have given. This is one I have given. Right? Where basically a product can be replaced. If the availability is not there to do with the confirmation, it can be replaced by the. So your storage locations can be replaced, your plant can be replaced, your materials can be replaced. That all functionality is not available in ATP. That all functionality would be available with the substitution functionality. ABC functionality is particularly called alternate base confirmation. Substitution, we cover the S-log substitutions, material substitutions. Alternate base confirmation, we cover the plant substitutions. So this can be done, which cannot be done in aATP. Your supply protections can also be done. So supplier protection can be done, that where basically you are protecting your supplies for one demand and one customer. So now this would be a very interesting topic to discuss about, which we'll talk about. People confuse a lot between supply production and the product allocation. These are two different things. Okay, supplier production and product allocation these are two different things, which has a lot of correlation between them. These all are the new things which has been recently added in aATP that will also be able to do the supplier production. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and click on bell icon to update yourself with latest SAP videos. One of the new thing which has been recently added is within the product allocation. Now with aATP, you can also do the capacity allocations. You are saying, you are confirming that on this 20th of February, I can confirm a customer a 5,000 quantity, but whether your warehouse is having a capacity to deliver the 5,000 quantities. Have that number of docking doors where basically the 500 quantities can be shipped from your warehouse. Okay. So for that, you need to check all the sales order which need to be shipped on that date to check your warehouse capacity, and based on the warehouse capacity, you can decide, okay, I have a stock, but I have another constraint. I don't have a warehouse capacity. That also has been added in the product allocation, where basically we will also be able to add the warehouse capacities, and we'll also be able to check apart from the product allocation where the warehouse capacities are there or not. So this is another thing which has been added in S/4HANA aATP, the warehouse capacity checks, which is not there in aATP. Then we have a A run. We'll also talk about this A run. Now it is A run is called supply assignment run. With ARUN, we were forming the requirement. That was one of the features which was available in your fashion and retail industry. Now that function we can also use it in aATP, where basically we will be able to freeze the allocations which we have done. Wherever we say that, okay, this allocation which we have done, this confirmation we have done, we need to freeze it. It need to be considered by MRP. We can use ARUN functionality. Right now, with this one statement, you will not be able to visualize it कि भैया ARUN क्या होगा, but I need a detailed discussion on that so that I can explain you what would be the ARUN, how it was used in retail industries or the fashion industry, and how it can make a difference in aATP now with supply assignment run. Then we have a supply create based confirmations, and we have a release for delivery. One application is there by which it is release for delivery is comparable to v_RA transaction, which we do it in aATP. But now this is on Fiori. All of this would be on Fiori. Okay, all of this would be happening on Fiori. This you can only go through the aATP, or you can also do one thing. You can also subscribe the SD Excellence course. Right now, the aATP is included in SD Excellence also. Okay, with SD Excellence bundle, you will get the complimentary access to aATP. That also you can do it. Now, with that, I have quickly explained you, कि भैया, what would be the what is aATP, what is gATP, what is aATP Advanced Available-to-Promise, and what kind of different functions and features would be there. What kind of different functions and features would be there, right? With that explanation, I would be ending my session here, and I would be asking any questions you have. Any kind of questions you have, you would be able to ask it now. I have a question. You can also raise your hand if you want to unmute yourself. If you want to ask your detailed question, you can raise your hand. I will ask you to unmute, and then you will be able to ask your question. I have already few questions here. One of the question is from Srini. Yeah. Is it possible to switch from PAL to PAC for a material without custom logic in S/4HANA? Yes, you can switch from PAL to PAC. You can switch off the product allocation. You can get this switched off, Srini. 3 months on PL and 9 months on PAC. Yes, that also you can do it. That availability is there when you're doing a product allocations. You can mention it for the defined period you want to do the product allocation. That is also available. ARUN is for fashion or any other industry. As I mentioned, ARUN was started from the retail and fashion and used a lot. But now you can use ARUN in the other industries also with aATP. Can we access weekend your session on multiple functions? Yes, you can access weekend sessions to go through in detail. Next Saturday, I would be covering it. This part, the aATP backorder processing, why the backorder processing is required, and how the backorder processing will be able to do. What is the bucket strategies are there? We'll be going through that. It will take almost 1.5 to 2 sessions on AAP BOP backorder processing. Then we'll be jumping into the product allocation on the next Sunday session. And then we'll be jumping onto the ABC. Product allocation itself can take a 1.5 session. Okay. So then next Saturday, we will be jumping into the next to next Saturday or Sunday, we'll be jumping into the substitutions topic. You can access the recordings once you enroll for this aATP. You will get the access for both recordings and also the live sessions. Okay, the link has been given, so you can check. Bhupender also give the SD Excellence link also if somebody required. You can also give the SD Excellence. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. If anyone has any career related question, that also you can feel free to ask. You can unmute yourself, raise your hand, and then I will ask you to unmute yourself, or you can unmute yourself one by one to ask your question if you don't want to type. Live session, this was the session number 1. Live session, next live session will be happening tomorrow 6:30, not tomorrow, sorry, next Saturday 6:30 a.m. It will be happening on Saturday and Sunday 6:30 a.m. IST. Bhupinder, is if in our aATP link the live session details are not mentioned, you can update it on the page. So we are having this live sessions. This is the total 11 session we did last time to cover in live. Okay, if we don't have any questions, we are ending our session here for today, and we'll connect again in the next session. We'll connect again in the next session. Thank you everyone for joining today, and we'll see you in the live session on coming Saturday. Okay, thank you everyone, and have a great week, remaining weekend, and have a very good start of next week. Bye-bye for now.